Tesla is playing some games here, but it's actually working, and the bears, they hate this because the stock is up today. Again, Tesla has just increased the price for the long-range Model Y in China by about $300, and this is the third price increase in the last 3 weeks. Gary thinks it's another positive sign that possibly gross margins have bottomed, which would be quite bullish for Tesla stock. What's really good about this is that this is the third price increase for the exact same trim. It's not really all that bullish. If you do 3 price increases, one, let's say, for the performance version, one for the long-range model, and then one for the standard range rear-wheel drive model. It's really just one price increase, but this, one might possibly say, is actually quite bullish. But is it really, or is Tesla just playing some games here with us, or to be more precise, with the consumers? There is some very important nuance, and the bears will take this and say, see, I told you, these price increases are all fake price increases. However, they are going to miss a huge point, just like they always do pretty much. Tesla China is hosting a limited time insurance grant promotion for the Model 3 and Y, but rear-wheel drive models, not the long-range model that just had the price increased. And the insurance subsidy is 8,000 yuan, so that's a little bit over $1,000, and it is time limited. So the bears will say, there's no price increase because you're just raising the price by about $1,000 in 3 weeks, and now you're giving away a subsidy that's also $1,000. This is not a real price increase that Tesla has done for its vehicles. But I say, well, if you have followed Tesla for more than 6 months, you might come to a conclusion that every single quarter, at the end of the quarter, Tesla does some sort of a promotion to boost the quarter deliveries and to give people an incentive to take a delivery before the quarter ends. So therefore, I say this is exactly as expected. If Tesla did not increase the prices, I would have still expected Tesla to do something similar to this. So the fact that Tesla increased the prices before doing this, to me, is somewhat bullish. It signals higher demand because regardless of the price increasing or not increasing, Tesla would have done this. But there's one more very important nuance to understand. And this one you will not know unless you follow Tesla very closely. You see, it doesn't really matter all that much if Tesla increases the price for the performance trim because not that many people buy it in China or in the US, but especially in China. But in China, the long-range Model Y is also not really popular. Only the standard range rear-wheel drive model is really popular in China. That trim is responsible for the absolute majority of the sales for the Model Y in China. I think what is happening in China can be described in 7 steps that James laid out here. It is all about the consumer psychology game that Tesla is playing in China, and it is doing it well this time. Number 1. You raise a price of a trim that no one buys. In China, that is the performance model, but also the long-range model. Number 2, you do it again in hopes of convincing people who want the rear-wheel drive model, which is the actual model that everyone wants. And you do it, and then many people hopefully buy more. And actually, they do. Number 3, you raise the rear-wheel drive price by $200 to pile onto the fear of missing out because people are thinking, oh yeah, they raised the price of these models multiple times now, and now we're going to do it with this model, so I better buy it now. Then you repeat the step number 1 of increasing the price of another trim that no one buys, and this creates this virtuous cycle. And James, of course, loves it. And as someone who studies marketing and sees what Tesla is likely doing here, I say this is very well done. And we have some evidence of this actually working because we just got newest China delivery numbers based on the insurance data, and it's fairly good, 16,700, which is slightly above the previous week, which was already pretty good. The previous record in China is in red here, and you can see that we are clearly now ahead of that quarter. So if the trend continues, Tesla will certainly have a record quarter. But the question is, maybe all of these sales are now from the refresh Model 3. And if that's the case, then maybe this trick is not really working for Tesla at all. Maybe people just stop buying the Model Y because people are seeing through what Tesla is doing here. Because Tesla is still exporting Model 3s, and we know the demand for the refresh Model 3s in Europe is very strong, we assume that the same will be true for China. In the ideal case scenario, we want to see very high Model Y sales and relatively low Model 3 sales. Of these almost 17,000 deliveries in China last week, only 3,400 were refresh Model 3. So I would say that's pretty good. That's very good, actually. However, this argument is becoming a bit more fair now that we are approaching the end of the quarter. Still no uptick in Model 3 deliveries in China, with exports now concluded for the quarter. One explanation is Tesla is still prioritizing the distribution of cars to further away locations in China. However, the later in the quarter we are, the more concerning the trend is. However, the accountant has pointed out that there was a ship that exported a significant number of vehicles last week. But all European countries that have the refresh Model 3 are doing really well so far this quarter. Look at this right here. The first 2 months pretty much beat almost every single quarter already. And the quarter has not even ended yet. We still have more than 1 month to go. So it would be very weird to see that demand for the refresh Model 3 in China is not good. Although remember that the new Model 3 is priced at a higher price than the old Model 3. So if there is a problem in the worst case scenario, Tesla just needs to drop the price by a little bit and we will be all just fine. If we look at the daily reporting countries in Europe, we will see that Tesla is doing so far quite well, despite not being able to really deliver vehicles in Sweden. And Sweden is a big part of this chart here, because only a few countries report daily in Europe. And despite that, Tesla already has achieved the highest number of deliveries so far in Europe in these daily reporting countries compared to previous deliveries. And I am yet to find anyone who said that the refresh Model 3 overall is a worse car or is just as good as the previous one. No, everyone says it is a lot better. So I think we are good here. However, this would point to the fact that Tesla might cut the prices again. Tesla introduced a limited time low interest promotion in China before the end of the year. Customers who purchase any model from Tesla and take delivery can benefit from a discounted interest rate loan program with a term of 3 or 5 years with an annual fee rate as low as 2.75%, which would save you as much as about $1,600. The impact here is more spread out, so it wouldn't really be visible to investors as much. I like this news. Tesla Korea has launched a new test drive program called T-Expert, Tesla Expert, a program in which vehicle owners participate in the Tesla mission by offering test drives to future owners with their own personal vehicles. Now, I personally really like this. I don't think this would really work for any other brand unless it's like Ferrari or Lamborghini or something like that. I mean, if I see someone drive a Mercedes, when I had a Mercedes, or when I drove a BMW earlier, when I would see another person driving a Mercedes or a BMW, I never had an urge to talk to them. But when I see someone drive a Tesla, I feel that everyone is just friendly, approachable. There's this sense of community, you know, that every Tesla owner will know about Elon Musk, at least something about him. And if I had some free time, I really would not mind giving test drives to other people. Tesla has increased the Cybertruck reservation price to $250, up from $100. But then almost immediately Tesla changed the price back to $100. And Gregor says, although it went back to $100, Tesla raising their reservation price makes me think the order process will still be reservation queued and not open for all to configure like somehow thought. But I think after the delivery event, most likely you will be able to configure your Cybertruck. Although there is a good chance that maybe you will only be able to do that if your delivery is going to happen pretty soon. So if you are at the end of the line, you might need to wait for quite a while before your final configuration, which to me would indicate a few things. Possibly number one, somewhat slow production ramp, but not necessarily. Number two could be Tesla not really being sure what they should charge for the Cybertruck. Because if you put down a deposit and there's a very clear price, and everyone knows what the price is, and if Tesla wants to change that price later for people that reserved the Cybertruck, it's a bit difficult to do that. Right now, everyone is expecting the price to be higher. So if Tesla does not let us configure our Cybertrucks, I would give it a somewhat low chance, but a significant chance that maybe Tesla is just not sure about the final pricing yet. But most likely I would say it's because Tesla does not think that the ramp will be smooth and quick. It appears that the Cybertruck delivery event time has been updated to 2 p.m. Central Time, so that's noon Pacific Time and 3 p.m. Eastern Time in the US. And it is not clear if the event will be streamed on YouTube. It will definitely be streamed on X, but I would prefer it to be on YouTube as well, simply because the viewing experience is still a little bit better for live streams. The video quality is a bit higher. Usually also, it's just a bit easier to find stuff, because if you are listening and you miss something, it's like, I need to go back a few seconds. You can easily go back and then you can catch up to the whole live stream. Also, Tesla's reach on YouTube through live streams is massive. So just from a marketing perspective, it makes sense to do that. And we now have final confirmation that the live stream will happen on YouTube as well, the Cybertruck delivery event live stream. I'm really happy about this. This is where I will watch the live stream. China is working on legislation that would basically ban part of the single pedal driving, which is the hold mode. So they want to eliminate the hold mode, and then you will not be able to drive just with one pedal, because when you stop, you would actually have to step on the brake. Only in China we see these crazy accidents where someone unintentionally accelerates like crazy and then crashes. We don't really see that anywhere else in the world. And I think one reason is people are not used to perhaps one pedal driving, really, or they sort of get used to it, and then instead of pressing the brake, they just hit the accelerator pedal because they're just used to driving with one foot. When you panic, when you freak out, you do weird things. And we are seeing a lot of that in China. So the government, I think, is just trying to avoid more of these accidents. All right, Australian state and federal governments have decided to crack down on reliability issues in the country's EV fast charging network, imposing a new standard that will require all state-funded installations to be working at least 98% of the time. Tesla, by the way, is up more like 99.99% of the time. The new uptime standard will be imposed from January 2024. Oh, sorry, I stand to be corrected. Tesla supercharger network is 99.95% reliable. In other words, you are about as likely to have a net worth of about $30 million as you are likely to encounter a Tesla supercharger that does not work. A Sweden Union IF-metal lawyer admits his family has a Tesla Model Y. This is a lawyer that works for the union that is striking against Tesla. The guy's wife basically told him that she's not going to settle for a gas-powered vehicle, then there is a much better option available, simply because her husband is part of a labor racket. Indeed, I do agree with James. It is good for her. And here you go. It is actually happening. I guessed earlier that GM is perhaps likely to cut spending or even close the whole division of Cruise or sell the company or just not focus on it as much anymore. And indeed, GM is about to cut spending on Cruise after that accident. And really, it should be titled GM cut spending on Cruise after the CEO and the chief product officer resign. Lotus has unveiled the 450 kilowatt fast charger. Tesla's V3 right now is 250, and many people are expecting that eventually V4 will be more than just 250. But the big question is about the uptime of that supercharger. The Ford F-150 Lightning is among top 10 slowest selling used cars. It's almost like people think that the Cybertruck is going to be quite a bit better than the Ford F-150 Lightning, and they are just waiting for the Cybertruck. Also, Ford's EV dealer program faces exodus as 400 dealers opt out. Wow. And that's despite Ford actually making it quite a bit easier for the dealers to sell their EVs. The dealers see, oh, there's not that much demand for Ford's EVs. Yeah, and Tesla is beating Ford in more ways than really expected. This is a Model Y winning in a race to the top against the Ford F-150 Lightning. However, Tesla, the company, sometimes does go a bit too fast, and Tesla pays for that occasionally. But I would rather be too fast than too slow. There are multiple people on X saying that they will eat a worm if the Cybertruck range is less than 300 miles. There's also this manager in charge of the San Diego showroom who revealed that the Cybertruck has a battery pack of 123 kilowatt hours. But yeah, Gregor also joined the commitment of eating a worm. For context, a Model X with a 100 kilowatt hour battery pack can do about 350 miles. So it would be a bit surprising if the Cybertruck with a bigger battery pack could not do over 300 miles. This is actually pretty good news for Tesla. The accountant says, I met a man at a New York City Tesla showroom today who had never heard of the Cybertruck until today. He spotted the Cybertruck from the window and came right in to see it. He wanted to order one and asked the Tesla associate if he could have it delivered by the year end. The associate told him that delivery timelines were not public yet. I had to break the news to this man that if he ordered the Cybertruck today, it would likely be a few years before he saw it, and he was stunned. I wonder how many people will run into Tesla stores and place an order once the Cybertruck hits the streets. And the answer to that question based on this story is many. Many people. There's a new product specifically made for Cybertruck. It's called Cyber Shield, and while it is not made by Tesla, it was used by Tesla employees to keep the Cybertruck clean. So you may want to order one if you are going to get a Cybertruck. It appears to me that at least a little bit, Tesla helped this company to develop this new cleaning solution specifically for the Cybertruck. The excitement is real. I cannot believe that the Cybertruck is actually coming in just 2 days. Lamborghini was spotted benchmarking a Tesla Model X. They know exactly who to copy. Good for them. ARK Invest has just released their SpaceX investment thesis, and they say that the satellite connectivity market could approach $100 billion annually over the medium term, and if Starship is successful in achieving rapid reusability, ARK's research suggests that there should be a $270 billion annual revenue opportunity for point-to-point transportation. Imagine traveling from Europe to the US or from the US to China in less than an hour. That would be a game changer. There's some drama happening in the Tesla community world on X. Alexander Ramirez got blocked by Ross Gerber on X. I'm not sure exactly which specific post triggered Ross to do that, but I'm pretty sure there have been multiple things that have been accumulating. So even if it was a specific post that triggered that action, it's been building up to this. But recently, Ross has said some very unusual things, like the Model Y is like a Prius now. So I am on Alexandra's side here.
Here we are. We're days away from the first deliveries of Cybertrucks. What are you expecting here from Tesla? And is this sort of a rising tide that will lift all Tesla boats in terms of sales? Do you like how I just mixed my metaphors there?
Yeah, I do. I do. No, I think that Tesla's boat does kind of rise and fall based off new products, and the Cybertruck is an incredibly impactful product, and I've been lucky enough to see it and touch it and sort of almost get in it completely before the security guard stopped me, and I want this, I want this vehicle very badly, and I think that people across the country, as they come in contact with the Cybertruck, are basically seeing the future of automobiles. And so I think it has a lot of impact for Tesla's overall brand, and I think it'll be positive for them. But I don't know if somebody's going to go out and run by a Model Y because they saw a Cybertruck on the road, and that's yet to be seen. But I do think it's some of the best advertising Tesla has is getting Cybertrucks on the road. That said, I still think they need to advertise on major media networks so people know about the value proposition of the Model Y, as per the earlier segment, where people are buying hybrids instead of Model Ys, which make no sense to me. Now, I get that with other EVs, but not with the Model Y, which is priced incredibly aggressively and with tax benefits is actually cheaper than a hybrid. So, I think Tesla needs to get its messaging out to the public and they'll have no problem selling cars. But I think there's a major education gap between what people know about electric cars and what's reality.
And the reality still is that many Tesla bears think for some reason that Tesla's demand will never really go up by a lot in the future, despite many people not knowing about EVs and not understanding the value proposition. But Tesla is now educating the consumer, or beginning to try to do that. The Cybertruck is here, pretty much almost. If we are being logical here, it is difficult to understand how one would still think that if you have a lot of people that don't know about your product and the benefits of your product, but then you let them know about it and then they still don't buy, logic would tell you that they would buy, but the bears say no. More people will not buy Teslas, and to me, that just does not make sense. But right now, it does make sense that a lot more people are not buying because they simply do not know everything they need to know about Teslas. But that will change. Okay, this is one of the craziest things I have seen AI do recently. You can take a simple image, just draw a little bit like that, and then it turns an image into an actual video. That's crazy. Wow. And it looks good. It actually looks good. So basically, you can no longer really tell what's real and what's not real anymore on the internet. For the longest time, if you saw a video, you knew, yeah. Almost certainly, definitely, this is real. But now you just won't be 100% sure anymore. And make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't yet. My name is Matt Posius, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.